and welcome to the Lair of the Visionary, where I show you how to build your very own props. And I present to you how to make the helmet of one of the most iconic villains in all of cinema, Darth Vader.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
No, I am the Father.
Let's begin. For this build you'll need pencil or pen, scissors and or box cutter, cardstock, cardboard, hot glue gun and glue sticks, spray adhesive, super glue, marker, old extension cord, newspapers, and paint. Templates for this build are linked in the description down below. You're also going to need lots of reference photos for the helmet. Before we get started, as a disclaimer, I'd just like to say that this is one of the more complex props that I've ever built, and as such, that also makes it kind of hard for me to explain everything to all of you. So I'm really sorry if this is kind of hard for you guys to follow, but with that being said, may the Force be with you. Taking a big sheet of cardstock, or cereal box cardboard if you have any big enough, I cut straight down the length of the cardstock. Then taking some spray adhesive, I spray adhesived the two cardstock pieces together. I also used the spray adhesive off camera, as this is an incredibly messy process, and I don't want to get anything on my camera. Then, taking the template marked 1, I traced it out onto the now double layered cardstock. You're going to want to make sure that you cut the eyes out of the template so that you can properly trace the eyes out onto the cardstock. Also, you're going to want to make sure to trace the indicator lines on the template out onto the cardstock as well. And you're also going to want to trace an additional 20 centimeters off of the top of what we traced out. Then when that's done, proceed to cut the traced piece out. Then using our indicator lines, I bent the line nearest to the top of the mask upward, while I bent the lower line downward. Then, taking the template marked 2, I traced it onto some cereal box cardboard, then flipped it over and traced it out once again, then proceeded to cut both pieces out. So, the general idea is to hot glue the cereal box cardboard pieces onto both sides of the cardstock piece. But in order to do this, you're first going to want to hot glue some long strips of cardboard onto the outer edges on the other side of the cardstock piece in order to give the cereal box cardboard something to bond to. So then, I hot glued the pieces we made with template 2 onto both sides of the piece we made using template 1. Then, taking the template marked 3, I traced and cut it off a piece of cereal box cardboard. Then taking a strip of cardboard 2 centimeters in width, I hot glued it around the inner edges of the piece we made using template 3. Then, taking template 4, I traced and cut off a piece of cereal box cardboard. Then hot glued it at an angle into the piece we made using template 3. Then, taking template 5, trace and cut it out of a piece of cereal box cardboard. Then hot glue it over our piece, like the way you see here. And then, hot glue this entire part onto the front of the mask. Then for the nose, I hot glued a strip of cardboard 1.8 by 12 centimeters in size onto the mask like so. I then hot glued a piece of cardboard onto the nose area of the mask in order to connect this piece to this piece, and thus completing the nose of the mask. Then for the tusks on the mask, taking some old extension cord that I cut down to 4 17-centimeter pieces, I hot glued 2 of each onto both sides of the mask like so. Then for the neck of the helmet, taking a piece of cardboard 8.7 by 34.5 centimeters, I bent and hot glued it to the bottom corners of the mask. So one thing you'll probably notice is that the mask doesn't exactly fit due to the fact that my chin seems to be in the way. To remedy this, just cut out a section for your chin to fit through. Then taking the template Mark 6, I traced and cut it out of a piece of cardboard. Then, I hot glued a mesh material that I had laying around onto the back side of the piece, and in turn bent and hot glued it to connect the bottom section of the mask to the neck. Then, cutting out some long strips of cereal box cardboard, I hot glued them over the neck like so, to kinda act as a cage to hold the shape of the neck for when we come by later and paper mache over it. Then for the dome, you're going to want to trace a fairly large round object onto some cardboard. For this, I used a bucket. While doing this, I added about 2 centimeters in length to the front of what we traced out. This will give it an oval shape. So then, I cut it out. Oh, and you'll want the size in total to be roughly around 18.8 by 23 centimeters in size. And so, this piece is essentially here just to hold the shape of the dome for when we wrap some cardboard around it later. And then, taking a long piece of cardboard, I wrapped it around our oval-shaped piece, like so. Don't forget to cut off the excess. Then, taking some long pieces of cardboard, I hot glued one piece to the front and then back of the base of our dome. Then I hot glued 2 more pieces connecting the sides to the top. And I just kept adding more cardboard pieces until there was no more room on the dome. And what we're essentially doing is building a cage for us to paper mache over that'll in turn become our finished dome. So then, when I was done hot gluing the cardboard pieces to the base dome, I cut some triangular shaped pieces out and hot glued them in between the gaps in our dome. Then, taking the template Mark 7, I traced it out onto some cardboard, then flipped it over and traced it out once again, then cut both pieces out. Then, I hot glued both pieces onto the front of the dome. And there we have the eyebrows. I then cut some large pieces of cardboard out and hot glued them around the dome. Also, when doing this, make sure that you angle them so that they kind of flare out. So you'll probably notice that there are some gaps around the lower section of the dome, which you can just fill in by hot gluing some triangular shaped pieces in between the gaps. Then when that's done, you may want to cut off some excess around the dome, along with cutting off some extra cardboard in order to give it that Darth Vader look. And there we have a samurai helmet. Then taking a spray paint cap, I hot glued it on top of the mask in order to hold the dome into place. And if you made it this far, congratulations! Now on to the paper mache. Before paper macheing the helmet, I gave everything a base coat of spray paint, in order to prevent the helmet from warping or bowing due to the paper mache paste. Now for the recipe for the paper mache paste, you'll need a cup of water, flour, a little salt, some regular white glue, and a pinch of sugar. Then mix. Then, taking some newspaper clippings, I paper mached them over the helmet like so. And for the smaller details like around the nose of the mask, I just used some regular white glue to paste on the newspaper clippings. You're also going to want to give everything about 2 layers of paper mache. Then, I gave the entire helmet 2 coats of a gloss black. Then, when the helmet was done drying, taking a transparent plastic, like the kind on a box for an action figure, I colored one side of the plastic with a black Sharpie marker, then I taped the plastic onto the inside of the mask, like so. Then I added on the last remaining details. And now, it's time to try the helmet on. And that's how you make Darth Vader's helmet.